Apparently, Justice Minister Helen McEntee thinks it's compassionate not to deport criminals, and you thought her predecessor Charlie Flanagan was bad. This is Ben Scallon and you're watching Gript Media. Fine Gael Justice Minister Helen McEntee has taken to Twitter to boast about the fact that there have been almost no deportations under her watch throughout the entire COVID-19 pandemic, describing this as a compassionate and pragmatic approach. I was glad to speak in the Shannon today and outline the compassionate and pragmatic approach we in government are taking toward deportation during the pandemic, she said. Our approach is reflected in the fact that there have been only 4 deportations since March 2020 and that 3 of these applied to deportation orders which were issued before March. No deportations have occurred since March in respect of unsuccessful applications for international protection. Our compassionate and pragmatic approach will continue for the duration of the pandemic, and I am conscious that we are about to embark on a vaccination program for COVID-19. She went on to justify continuing this policy for the foreseeable future on the basis that mass vaccinations will soon be carried out, implying that illegal immigrants and those under deportation orders should be able to go to the hospital and get vaccinated without fear of being deported. We in government can give a commitment that no information gathered as part of a vaccine program will be passed on to the immigration authorities. Similarly, Micheál Martin announced that there will be a halt on all deportations except for extreme circumstances. Now, on the surface, this might seem reasonable to some. After all, people commit all sorts of crimes. Immigration crime is just one variety. The doctor wouldn't ask you for your fingerprints before treating you on the off chance that you had committed a bank robbery, right? It's not the health system's job to enforce the law in any other area, so what's the difference in this case? Well, first of all, as McEntee herself has admitted, this was going on way before the vaccine was even on the market, going back as far as March. Clearly, nobody was coming forward to receive a vaccine that didn't yet exist, so what was the justification then? Secondly, while it's true that it's not the health system's job to make sure that the law is enforced, you know whose job it is? Helen McEntee's and Micheál Martin's. She is the Justice Minister who is paid €79,000 in ministerial expenses on top of her standard €96,000 TD salary paid by the taxpayers, i.e. you and I, to ensure that justice is served and the law is followed in our country. And Micheál is the leader of the government. And yet these are the ones declaring nobody has been deported in ages and that won't change anytime soon, lads. If a doctor's attitude was, sure look, I don't care if you're legal or not, my job is just to help people with diseases, that's it, you could at least understand that mindset. If incidentally there was a kind of implicit don't ask, don't tell thing going on, that would still be bad, but at least the law would be respected on paper. But the Minister for Justice openly saying the same thing is a clear dereliction of her duty and a recipe for criminality. And these choices have real consequences. As recently as May 2020, while McEntee was employing her compassionate approach, Irish media told of a Brazilian murder squad, that's their term, not ours, who were intercepted by police while trying to kill a traveller in Clara, County Offaly. The 4 men were wielding submachine guns and sawn-off shotguns, as reported by Extra.ie. A senior source told the Mail if these men had opened fire with a submachine gun up in that housing estate, it could have caused absolute carnage considering all the families based up there. There could have been dozens of casualties. And then the key piece of information from The Independent, the court heard De Silva, one of the attackers, has 24 previous convictions in Ireland, which includes offences for theft and possession of knives. He has also been the subject of a deportation order since July 2019, having entered the country on a holiday visa. So at least one of these men was a known hardened criminal who was under a deportation order for almost a year, and yet this May, here he was prancing around the country with his heavily armed mates attempting to shoot up rural housing estates and kill Irish citizens. And this is just one recent example. It's been common in Ireland for years for criminals to be asked to self-deport, which is about as effective as you would expect. It's a bit like asking a criminal to escort themselves to prison, as in, it's a joke. Just take a listen to the head of the Irish Immigration Service talking about how not only is the responsibility on the person to self-deport, but we don't even check whether they've left or not.
the obligation is on people to remove themselves from the state, and many people do. And therefore, it's not the case that every deportation order that's issued is automatically comes to the point where it requires the removal of a person from the state. Many people voluntarily remove themselves. We can't be precise about how many actually do, because we don't have exit checks at the country.
Yes, you heard that correctly. The link to that footage can be found in the description of this video if you want to verify it for yourself. It's an undeniable and well-established fact that violent crime in Ireland has been spiralling out of control in recent decades, seemingly setting new records on an annual basis. That's not an incidental fact, but a direct result of limp-wristed, short-sighted policies like this. When will Irish politicians and police do the job that they are paid handsomely for and actually protect the citizens who pay their salaries? Please like and share this video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider signing up for a monthly donation via the link on screen to help us produce more content like this. Alternative media like Gript needs all the assistance it can get, and every donation goes a long way. As always, thanks for watching.